Oh,
So,
I could maybe hide myself. Yeah, that's better because it's a stupid advertisement. Yeah, advertisement.
yeah, we still see. Let's see if we say hide, show. Oh, no. Let's see. Ask, make host, remove, unmute, hide 9-bit. Seems like you have a video, but it just shows that. Anyway, already we can begin. So this is our empathy design team number 1. I don't even know how many. I'm not even sure
what. Fortunate ones.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what the meeting number is. We had quite a few meetings, and I want to start off. I made some slides to divide the different sections of the meeting. If you see our outline, meeting outline, there's different topic headings, and so I thought I would show the first one, and that is participation invitation. So this is to anyone watching this video, we invite you to consider joining us in forming a training design team. We're especially looking for educators and people very familiar with empathy. You can go to empathytent.com and you'll find the link there to our design group and a way to get involved. There's also something to do for our team. I was thinking we can create a little PSA, instead of announcing it at the beginning, an invitation to everyone at the beginning, we can just show a little PSA. So that's a little project to.
What's PSA?
Public service announcement. So a little announcement that's come join the team, a little bit more polished, that we could just kind of somehow put it at the beginning of the meeting. So with that, what's our next one? We did the recording. We want to set our intention. So I actually create a little slide for our intention. Oh, yeah, Varsha?
Since this video link is accessible only to the participants, how can an outsider come and see this video?
This is not just for participants. Ours are publicly available, and if you go to our website, our project website, I put the video into each. I upload it to YouTube, then I put a link in.
Okay.
And then you can go and take a look at it, and we use it. That was the whole thing about being public or not public was a big issue with. Susan Partnow and her compassionate listening. We're still trying to figure out how to deal with that. For me, we're trying to spread the word as much as possible, make it publicly available. She has more of a constrictive, kind of focusing on confidentiality and, sort of talking about more intimate things. And for that, she wants confidentiality. But for our work, though, we're trying to make it as publicly available to create a public training that everyone can use. So with that, we want to set our intention, and I even made a slide for that. And we're setting the intention. So our intention is to build a culture of empathy in the group and the larger society. And sort of in short, that means everyone is free to fully express themselves. Whatever you would like to express, you're free to speak freely. And everyone feels heard to their satisfaction. So we're trying to support mutual listening and constructive dialogue. And I added the word, do we have consent? Because that's something that Varsha is doing Celia is doing in terms of her sociocracy. So I kind of like that term. So do we have consent? Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, my thumbs up too.
Okay, so I got this cool thing here. Varsha, you might like that. This is
that's the Indian thing.
So this is my concept here. I want to pour the oil. It's a little oil lamp.
Yes.
And the idea is that everybody you know, we have consent, so everybody would get a little candle lit, right, for their presence.
This is the kind of lamp, but the earthen lamp, you know, made of mud. I used that for my project.
They're like ghee lamps, right?
Yeah, the ghee lamps.
So the idea would everybody would have their own light to represent, you know, sort of their presence. The only problem is it uses up a huge amount of oil. So I'm not going to skip that because it would use up the full amount of oil in about 30 minutes if we lit all of them. I just want to show you. So we do just to hold our, and then in the middle, we hold our intention for a culture of empathy, which is how all of our kind of lights come together. So we have a local Indian store right around the corner, so I bought that. I was kind of jazzed with that. So I'll just hold that, our intention. And, oh, yep. So we set our intention. So I'm trying to divide, you know, our activities and have something on the screen to show the divisions again. So we want to kind of start with a bit of self-connection, a bit of mindfulness, and that activity is mirrored feelings. I want to show a slide for that. So mirroring feelings, we want to take 2 minutes of quiet self-awareness. How do you feel now? Become aware of your feelings, and then towards the end, we're going to translate that into a feeling and movement and or sound, and then we'll go around in the group and share that and do mutual mirroring. And everybody in the group knows how to do that. So we will start, and I will set the timer for 2 minutes. And, you know, take a deep breath, slouch into your chair like Barsha, or put your head on your hand like Peter. And 2 minutes, just self-connecting. We have about 20 seconds. Imagine the motion you'd like to share with the group. Taking maybe a deep breath and slowly coming back to the group. Opening your eyes, and we are back. That was
Sorry.
Oh, got a fire alarm there. So we want to go around and share the feeling that we had and what that looks like. And for me, there's actually, it's kind of like this. There's a kind of a crunch, and the sound is buzz, buzz. Varsha, do you want to go next?
It's like. Take a deep breath in, like. I feel so pressure right now.
A lot of pressure in there.
Yeah, I feel pressured.
Okay, Bob?
Blessings.
Okay. And Peter?
I feel it's like this.
Okay. Celia, can you help us imagine yours?
Well, the movement is more like what Varsha made, but then vertical from top down, and with the hands, yeah, the hands the way she had them, so sideways, the hands sideways. Flip them over the hands, flip the hands over to and then open top down though. Okay, I have to do it later again. And the feeling is really, I was already busy still 2 hours in the computer, and I feel like I'm narrowed in that screen, like, yeah, so, but I'm still doing good. Yeah, that one, Varsha, that one.
Oh, what was it, Varsha?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, like, oh.
Yeah, the screen.
Oh, I see.
Like, whoa, how could I let go it? Maybe therefore my screen stopped. I just realized that. I thought, oh, got help from universe here. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so our next one is the on arrival question. So we went through and we wrote down on the question, how would you like to contribute to the development of the empathy MOOC design project? So it's just whatever comes up. We have 4 groups now, and I've kind of been setting up the infrastructure, so there's been no real, request of anyone to contribute besides what they would like to in terms of, just taking part. And some people have kind of done other things. And so it's been rather open, but I'm not sure where everyone is, where they kind of see themselves, in terms of how they would like to contribute. So that's why I asked the question. Varsha?
I guess I will have more activities next month, because I'm going for this residency called Dance Research. So there I might, it's more about creative process and moving and creating movements through ideas and all. So I might have some activities next month.
Okay.
First, between 6th and 21st. So I'm sure something might come up. So I'll share. I want to share, but my situation is different right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to.
Yeah, so right now you're participating in the group, and just taking part, and then next month I'm hearing that you're doing some trainings and some programs, and you'll have some activities that you could share. Maybe design some activities and share those next month. Okay.
Yes.
Bob?
I believe I wrote on the document, and I'm not sure you can see it, but I would like to lead a Listening Well group beginning in the fall.
Cool.
And I'd like to help out with retreats.
Wow.
Yeah, so great. Peter?
For me, I'm just enjoying being present here.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't quite found what would make what I would be so passionate about. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be something that I'm really interested in following up with. So I'm just taking my time to kind of think about it.
Yeah, that's part of it. All you need to do is just be here, take part, and that's kind of that's enough. And if anyone wants to kind of take next steps, you know, feel motivated with what feels, you know, alive for you. For myself, I'm kind of like working on all aspects of it. So, you know, the whole MOOC, I've been making it the central focus, you know, of what I'm working on. So I'm like plugging away about 6 days a week, kind of doing A to Z, you know, recruiting participants, making contacts, you know, designing a basic initial lessons, and trying to set up a productive environment where everyone feels included, and that you can kind of find an effective way to, you know, contribute effectively. So, and also so everyone kind of is enjoying it and feels like it's productive and so forth. So we're going to go back to this question later to think in terms of designing and how to ask other participants, you know, what are the different categories of participation, and just so we can, so I have a sense of where people are and what it is that they would like to contribute. Because, oh, and sorry, there's Celia. Yeah, you did right there. I'm seeing Cyberlink and it didn't register. You're doing all kinds.
Cyberlink was no more on the video, but I clicked it off. I don't see it. You still see it?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So no. Well, I am. I think every day about it, and I will start the empathy tent in August because we're gonna have an event in the. With the art walk every second Friday of the month, and the center that I teach my classes is going to participate in the art walk. So I contribute with putting up an empathy tent. Yeah, so hopefully it's every second Friday of the month.
Yeah, Varsha?
You sent one email 2-3 days back, right, where we can facilitate. Is this something part of it? I just glanced through it, but
yes, that was my question. Yeah, what because you know, how does it look like, and what do you say to people? You come in and sit here and just say whatever you want. You know, how do I start that? Yeah.
Yeah, so we need a little handbook on how to start an empathy tent. Bob has gone through the whole process. And then we have the meetings on Wednesdays. So you were going to come to the next Wednesday meeting so that we can kind of talk about kind of logistics, maybe create more of a little handbook of how to start your own empathy tent. As well as you had the vision of creating a training, empathy training. So you're very involved in the whole designing of a training. So you're,
Yes, and I'm also very interested in design because I just designed my training beginning this year, but I would love to know how to make it for an online possibility as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is just an initial discussion. We'll come towards, you know, you'll have about an hour to talk about the empathic listening, and then we'll come back to this. So the next thing on the agenda was let me put this up, was our empathy circle, kind of our basic, you know, mutual listening. And the topic is to share your compassionate listening workshop experience, how we might incorporate it into our MOOC, and just like, how was the experience for you? What's kind of alive for you around that you know, Susan's training 3 weeks we spent on that? And how can we incorporate that into our work, and and anything else that's alive in you too. If you feel like there's a different topic you want to talk about, you know, whatever is alive in you is fine. So we'll set about an hour for that. And who would like to start, and who would you like to speak to? Go, Bob.
Varsha, would you please listen to me? Okay. In our Empathy Listening Well website, we have a toolkit, and Susan has some wonderful tools for our toolkit that we got to use. And everything I took part in was a wonderful addition to my life. Susan is a gifted person, a compassionate person, and every minute I was able to invest in these last weeks has been a blessing to me.
I hear you say that we have this toolkit section in the website where Susan has included wonderful tools, and she was the wonderful addition in your life, and she's a gifted and compassionate person. In short, it added a lot of value in your life. Susan added, the presence of Susan was meaningful to you in your life.
Very much so. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
My turn. I kind of feel disconnected right now, but whatever I remember.
Who are you speaking to?
Oh, you.
Okay. Well, I'm hearing you're feeling a bit disconnected right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm kind of vaguely, I have to reflect back again, but what I remember vaguely, we had this group duet talk where we went to our individual rooms, and yeah, that was like very, very different. And I've been thinking that like it made me think about what's the difference between compassionate and empathic listening. Both of them meant the same to me, and I was very curious to learn about that triangle thing, because I felt that's what I'm really looking for, which I missed, and I yet have to watch the video. And I think that triangle thing will really bring a U-turn in my thinking process and in my designing the workshop and all that,
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let me see if I got it. So one thing that stood out for you was the drama triangle, and you really think that that's going to be meaningful for the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
And wow, what was the other things you said? That's
many of the activities that we did in compassionate listening.
Oh, it was the what's the difference between empathic listening and compassionate listening, or empathy and compassion? You're kind of like wondering what's the difference, because they seem similar or the same.
Yeah, and many of the activities that we did during Susan's class, I have already undergone those kind of activities, so it didn't seem new to me other than the drama triangle. So that is very fascinating.
Mm-hmm. So you're familiar with the different activities, and again, the drama triangle kind of stands out as something fascinating and new.
Yes.
It may be very important for you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I feel fully heard.
Okay. Then I'll speak to Peter.
All right, I'm listening.
Okay, yeah, that drama triangle, I really like that concept. I've seen it sort of play out, and have a sense of it. A lot of the different activities that Susan does, I would kind of give it a different spin, a different twist. For example, the drama triangle, I see the way out of that drama is through empathic listening to the different parties.
So what I heard you say was that you're kind of stimulated by the drama triangle. It kind of made you really think, and at the same time, while you enjoyed it, there were just things about the ways that the exercises went that you would have done it differently, that they just didn't satisfy you quite. So you would have twisted it a different way or spun it a different way.
Yeah, with the drama triangle, I've seen the drama. Like I tell the story about mediating a conflict. I better set the timer. They're mediating a conflict in my family where two family members were kind of going at each other. And that was the essence of the drama triangle, right? And then you can step into it and you try to support. I could have tried to support one of the members, say, don't talk to her that way, or she's right. And then I would have stepped into it. But I stepped into it with an empathic approach by listening to each party. I didn't try to, all I tried to do is I empathized with one till they felt heard, just like what we do here. Then I went to the other, listened, and then I just went back and forth. And then and they just started feeling heard. And after about, 10, 15 minutes, the tension went down to the point where I asked them to start reflecting to each other. And
So you actually had a experience where you were able to actually take this dynamic of this triangulation, and you were able to kind of create a complete system where people were hearing each other and seeing each other for what they wanted to be heard and seen for. And you felt really empowered by that.
It was like one of the huge success stories of, I tell it all the time. It's a great story because it was mediating a conflict. But it was doing it it was changing the drama triangle into an empathy circle. Yeah. So that's it. I see, she has the triangle, it's the drama triangle, and the way out is the empathy circle.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody, so that's the transition. And all those other words, she has coaches, and I don't know what it was. It's too complicated for me. It's just translating it translating that drama triangle into an empathy circle, I think, is a simple way, and it really kind of captures the essence. And I've lived it, and I've seen it in action.
So, it seems like living that essence is so important for you, and that when it gets too technical or muddied down with concepts, you just want to live it, and you want to experience it, and you want to practice it.
And so keep the description simple. It's like the description was getting too simple, and she kind of rushed through it. And I don't think there was it was just, for somebody who's not familiar with it, I think they would have gotten lost and not understood, and have a whole different framing of it. So a lot of her concepts I see like that they can be changed a little bit to make them easier and fit it within the empathy kind of a framework.
Yeah. So you just want to make it work. You want to make it easy, applicable. It doesn't have to be too complicated.
Yeah. And the empathy circle is central. Just this empathic listening that we're doing is just, and bringing people into the circle, because in that family situation, it's like after listening to them, having them listen to each other, the whole family came together, and it became a big family empathy circle, and it kind of came to resolution. And I'm kind of celebrating too. Bob told us a story about how he was at a whole gathering of people and was able to do, a group that was all in conflict, that he was able to bring that empathic listening to kind of bring people together. So that's sort of, so that's something like
that potential. It sounds like it's so exciting for you. I mean, it's exactly what you're doing here, but
yeah, exactly.
It's like, one little concept, practiced so well that spontaneously led to all this other positivity.
That's right. Yep. So I feel heard with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Celia, you there?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I'm coming.
She's coming.
To close this one.
Yay!
Talk to you.
Celia.
Yeah, there you go. We were just doing the work. So, and
Finally, the ghost appeared.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to listen to me?
Goddess.
This computer. Do you guys hear me?
We do.
Oh, perfect. I hear you too. So this computer is later with the image than the other one, so it is really the computer. Well, Peter, I'm here for you.
This is so much better.
Oh, I know.
Between, what I'm hearing from Varsha and Edwin, I'm kind of making realization for myself, particularly, as I've become more, experienced in my work and experienced with, all these different empathy styles, why I've moved in the direction I have, where I've kind of just fallen out of the community. You know, the way that it's hearing how there's so many different people that call it, you know, compassionate listening, empathetic listening, you know, all these little language tricks for essentially what I think is the same thing. You know, it's kind of like advertising almost. Like, you know, we have to call it something different because someone, you know, someone famous might sue us for using their concept's name, you know, which has happened in the past with some groups, you know, and
yeah. So that you really
the fact that like practice isn't implemented in a lot of these communities. It is too complicated. It's too complicated. When I started working as a social worker, you know, I spent years and years learning all this empathetic stuff, and the truth is that I needed to relearn how to talk to people from a much lower level than what people were trying to teach me to do.
Wow.
So, you know, just appreciating that's kind of where I'm at with all these different trainings and everything right now.
Right. So you really stick to what you actually learn and have learned in the last years, like finally doing it this way. And however those trainings are called, or how they walk the line with not getting sued for using expressions in a certain way, you don't really care for that. The main thing is that it helps your life more forward. So maybe actually also you don't even want to think about all these different modalities. Is that so?
What I'm just trying to express is that there are many, many groups that, you know, it is my experience is that there's a lot of disconnection in this community that's trying to teach these empathetic skills. Yeah. And essentially it's just, there's a lot of language policing. And I'd rather have more of just an honest expression and intent, positive intent for my fellow man. Yeah. You know, and I'm okay with that. You know, I don't care how it's done. If empathy works, it works.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
I'm okay with that. So I'm just that's what I'm kind of sitting with right now.
All right. Yeah. Your main thing is that it is honest and does it comes from your good heart, and that it's not disconnection. That's your main wish for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything
All right,
more? Okay. Thank you. Yes, wow, where shall I start? Oh, I have to pick someone. Varsha. Okay. So for me, it was indeed actually what Peter says. It's another modality that, of course, I have my system already for so many years, which is, I know that how hard it is then to even in the least be open to hear another way or another approach. So I wanted to make sure I still do that. I'll stop here the first time.
So what I hear you say is already there are so many modalities to listening, and you are just you are just making sure that you still are a good listener. Is that what you said? Is that what you meant? You want to make sure that you retain yourself as a good listener, despite of all modalities that's available out there.
Yes, but also listener to indeed how another person approaches it. So because I have my own system already, and then it's very hard to be open to start with a clean slate, so to say, and to saying, oh, okay, how does she mean that? What is she saying? Now, another thing I realized is that I could see how would I be a teacher online? You know, is that the way she does it that I would like to do it? Because what we do is really practicing the empathic listening moments with each other. And what we got from her was really a lesson setup and a teaching more from her, instead of like how we are moving around is in walking through everything together, you know. I don't know if that makes sense.
So what I hear you say that you find it a little difficult to adapt to different modalities because you already have your system set up. So it is you find it a little challenging to step out of your own system and adapt to other people's system context to listening. Is that what I heard right?
Yes, and then the second part was that her.
So yeah, what
yeah.
I don't want you to repeat so that because you're already
Okay.
too much.
Okay.
Sorry. So second thing, this compassionate listening from Susan just inspired you to think that if you could also teach online like her. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, and how would I then how would I present the exercises, you know?
Yes.
I definitely would take more time in the group first, get everybody's response, so that I learned that how important I felt for myself as a student, how important that was. And then still do more as a group instead of too much in the breakout rooms. Yeah.
So you are thinking, what I hear you say is that you're thinking of different, how would you do your session online? So you are presenting different ideas probably. Instead of breakout sessions, you would spend more time with the group, doing the activity and all that, different examples.
Yes. And another thing is that how do we see a leader of a group, you know, and how do we look up to them? I don't want to be looked up to. I am and you are. We are next to, or we just are, and we're together. And I'm not per se the teacher. I'm just one person. So that mindset, I saw it. I thought, okay, I really need to stick to that and be aware that I do not step in the being idolated or being praised as the leader. Yeah.
So so this is again, I see you're relating to your prospective online program that you imagine to do, that you don't want to be looked up, or you don't want to, you're not interested in standing out of the group, but just be a part of the group and just be like a normal rather than stand out as a leader. And you're wondering how people would perceive, or how does anyone look up to a leader or think about a leader, but you are more concerned about not being standing out in the group.
Yeah, and the
just
main
like
reason.
Another person.
Yes, and the main reason is that I want to be open for criticism. Otherwise, it's hard for people, if they really, really like me, to say something that they doubt about or have a question about.
So you the reason you don't want to stand out, or just like like this.
Yeah.
So you can receive constructive criticism. Otherwise, if people perceive you as a leader or someone special, probably they might not open up.
Yeah.
To constructive criticism. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. I could go on, but this was very, very nice. Thank you, Varsha.
Now my turn? Oh.
Again.
Who do I speak to? Bob? Bob, yeah, Bob.
I'm listening.
Yes. I'm just probably hesitant, or maybe I'm scared, or I'm maybe self-doubting in progressing towards my lesson or curriculum development. I just want people in front of me with whom I can experiment, movement and all. People don't like judge or, I just want people to be in front of me and just like, ready, let's get started. So I don't know, I'm just like feeling how I'm going to do that and all that. Self-doubt, I want to do this. I'm very curious. I have some hope that I go to Maryland Dance Exchange and find something, because there are going to be a lot of people in the room with whom I can experiment. I hope so.
So I hear you saying that you have some hesitancy, perhaps some self-doubt about how you will be the leader of a group and how you can invite folks to participate and be part of your experiment.
Yeah.
Will be a benefit to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I have some hopes. I'm going to Maryland for that residency for 3 weeks, dance exchange. So I have some hope. I have some hope to develop something, come up with some activities.
So you have hope that at the dance exchange, you can find a way to be this leader, this presenter of these dance movements, and to be a benefit to people.
Yeah. I feel heard.
Okay. Peter, would you please listen to me?
All right, I'm ready.
In a month, I'll be leading a workshop on lookism. And what this group has helped me learn and what Susan has helped me learn is the format for this workshop. It's a 45-minute workshop on how people have been hurt by comments from others about how they look. And we're going to try to honor those feelings and perhaps invite some healing. And out of that negative situation, I hope can emerge positive growth and a new awareness and a new appreciation of each other as people on the journey to wholeness.
All right. So in a few weeks, you're going to be holding this group, and you notice that from these previous 3 weeks, you've gotten like a methodology that you could use to hold the group. And you're trying to figure out, in that 45 minutes, how you're going to support people the best in this issue that they're dealing with.
Very much so, yes. And this book and the Empathy Circle movement, it's a movement, have been so vital in helping me grow as a human being.
Mm. So the book that we're training in, and just the empathy movement, particularly the empathy tent work, the empathy circle, all this stuff, it's coming together and really supporting you in just growing as a person.
Very much so. I feel fully heard. Thank you,
All right,
Peter.
thank you. Who's left? Edwin, right? So, hi.
Yeah.
I am realizing, just in thinking about it, the past 3 weeks, actually were pretty simultaneously emotionally gratifying. But I know I particularly the second week, I noticed how tired I was at the end of it. And I knew that when we were going in that it was, we're going to end at 8:00, but maybe a few minutes later. And I just realized that even those 30 minutes that were like unplanned, but that we drifted over, was too much for me. Like to the point where I'm really I'm done with this, So I'm just appreciating that. I actually found it pretty effective to have the breakout rooms that were more private, and then, but it just something about the process being too long. I noticed how quickly my energy level dropped. It was like an oceanic shelf. It went like boom, like a roller coaster, straight down. Just after a certain, after the 2 hours. So I'm just reflecting on that.
Okay, so you're noticing that in the training, in Susan's training, that your energy just suddenly dropped, and it was like the 2 hours was too long. But doing the breakout rooms, it sounds like you got some energy in the breakout rooms with sort of interaction, and you're just kind of like sitting with an awareness of this was what happened in you.
Yeah. So I'm just realizing, what might be too long or not too long. But at the same time, I did some pretty good work in those breakout rooms. I really was authentic with myself. And it's always nice to be with people who are motivated, who are like really there to do the work. So it was kind of like a preview of where this community is even headed. You know, you had some people that were just willing to be there, and and you know, and it's okay, let's play, you know, let's do this. So it gave me a little bit of hope in everything that we're doing. And I think we're just going to reach there. You know, it's just going to happen, you know.
So in the groups, you're able to, sounds like, have maybe some more intimate dialogue, and that was very meaningful to you. And you see that this group is sort of moving in that direction. It sounds like that's where your energy and enthusiasm is.
Let me correct it. This group that we're working on with now actually is there already. But you threw so many more people into the mix that were also there that it was fun. Like I noticed, like how stimulating it was to me.
So it's stimulating to have a whole bunch, like 12 people or more, just kind of being in this, and just kind of you're stimulated by just seeing the whole community that's sort of intentionally working on this.
That and just being stuck with so many people in individual settings, you know, just it was nice, you know. So I'm just imagining how that'll work out with this later on. You know, maybe later on, all the different empathy teams that are training will have one big meeting or something like that. You know? See what happens with that.
So you're kind of imagining bringing all the different empathy teams together and just see what kind of what that experience would be like, and kind of some anticipation of what the possibilities are.
Yeah, I feel heard.
Okay. So I'm not sure who I have not spoke to before, so I guess I'll go with Bob.
I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, I really these different topics like leadership, you know, how the nature of leadership, and like I like the empathy circle because I see it as more of a egalitarian sort of a container. Like everyone's pretty equal in terms of time and space and so forth. So I appreciate that's something I appreciate about an empathy circle compared to a highly facilitated workshop where there's a leader that does kind of pretty much holds the whole thing. So I see those two different, you know, sort of models, but each one has its, you know, advantages and disadvantages. And, you know, for people that are starting sort of new, sometimes they're more comfortable with somebody kind of holding everything, you know, for them. So I think there's kind of, you know, pluses and there's just different effect. But my inclination is towards the more egalitarian container of an empathy circle.
So you're hearing talk today about leadership, and that allows you to deal with this question of leadership and how can it be egalitarian and facilitating, not so much individual focus of drawing folks along, but empowering others through egalitarian leadership styles.
Yeah, because the facilitator-led becomes almost like a guru, right? I mean, this is not that Susan is doing that, but that I've seen it in other settings where it's kind of like it's the guru and everybody looks up to them and they say, oh, wasn't that person the great? It's like they almost gave a show and they're kind of like judging the show, like they're a really great showman in a sense. And I just feel kind of a cringing when I kind of hear that, because it seems to take responsibility away from the individual, right? It's like we all have responsibility to be contributing, to be kind of equal players instead of giving up our responsibility to Trump or whoever, right? It's like, so anyway, that's just something I'm kind of thinking about and the dynamics.
So you're thinking about the guru phenomenon, where one person is the center of attention and that one person directs others in the participation, and they begin to look up to that person, and that could be dangerous. You prefer a less individual focused group, but as each person empowers the other, and so the individual, no matter what role is played, is the person who is affirmed and energized. Yeah,
and we do that in an empathy circle because anyone can say anything and anybody can reflect it. And so it seems that that's kind of like the essence. But I do see also the educational part, like, you know, we're reading the book. So we are kind of all reading, you know, Bill Miller is sort of the facilitator in a sense because we are reading that through. So Yeah, it's just there is that aspect of there is some didactic, educational components, and to move through that is helpful. So anyway, it's just kind of stuff. I appreciate Celia kind of bringing that up and kind of looking at this topic.
So you see in this instance of our course together that Bill Miller is the facilitator. We follow his curriculum, and we're all equal partners in receiving the curriculum and commenting on it and using empathic listening to broaden and heighten and deepen the educational experience.
Yeah, so I enjoy this much more than just like going through a workshop and kind of hearing the facilitator speak. But there's a lot of concepts that I thought were interesting, like those diagonals and placing ourselves on the diagonal and seeing those concepts, the drama triangle. So there's a lot of interesting, activities within that that I really appreciated. So I did like that. So I guess I'm just trying to, think like for our training, what would be what's the way to incorporate all this into, the MOOC that we're designing.
So in the Susan Partnow experience, you appreciated the continuum diagonals and the drama triangle, and you're trying to figure out how we can use those ideas and bring them into the MOOC in an empathic style.
Yeah. So those are, and there's a lot of other activities. So each of those activities could be something for the toolkit, right? We just create this toolkit, people can draw. And so the idea is that anyone can do this training. We've got a toolkit, and they can put together their own sort of a training out of this toolkit and use the empathy circle, as the core practice and kind of build on that. So it kind of puts that mutual listening at sort of the core of the training.
So as we develop our empathy circle and empathy training modules, the toolkit, which we can add to from any source, can be used by the circle to bring in all these ideas and the mutuality and the educational format that can help everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I feel heard. Thanks.
Okay. Celia, would you please listen to me?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. Edwin has spoken about going deeper, and as the empathy circle progresses, I'm challenged and invited to go deeper into my center and find what is really true about me and about everyone. And I find this empathy circle way of being and way of speaking, way of listening is a tremendous way for me to discover who I really am.
So the fact that you are in these circles and all the development that you've done lately is really the discovery, the deeper you, who are you really? And that is really satisfying for you.
Yes, and as I come to know who I truly am, and as I live who I truly am, I'm a much happier person, and I can be of service to others in a much better way.
Wow. So even knowing who you are really in your true core gives you more tools to help others to be themselves as well.
Yes, thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you. Do we continue, Edwin?
Yeah, we have some more time. I think about 15, 20 minutes.
Peter, would you listen to me?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm here.
Thank you. It's so interesting to have these talks, I feel, because it opens up more possibilities. I'm thrilled to just hear from Edwin actually how the toolkit could work. And I think, yeah, it's just is like a menu, and you just, if you're a more theatrical person, you take more of those kind of exercises. If you are more analytic one, you take more kind of those exercises. Just having those tools, and that you can choose from that you can create your own training. That's I'm all of a sudden very thrilled. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're delighted that we're creating this repository of tools, and opportunities, and you're kind of recognizing how different people of different styles will choose what works for them, and then leave the rest. And just it kind of sounds like it's almost like you're excited for yourself. Like,
right.
I can take what I want, and you know what? There's other stuff. Hopefully, someone else will use it, but I'll do it my.
Yes, and you do it your way. Yeah, and I think even the participants in a group can co-decide. Which way you want to go, what kind of exercises would you want to use, and then I think for that, what we only need to provide is a framework with the steps that they have handy.
Mm.
And then the content they choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're enjoying giving people that freedom to learn the way they want.
Yes.
By choosing the content, but giving them the framework,
That is it, the freedom. That's the biggest word. Thank you. Yeah. Feel fully heard. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so it's my turn. Varsha, could you listen to me?
Yes.
I am just realizing, I'm curious. I'm actually realizing just a drop of not so much nervousness, maybe concern. No, it's nervousness. So now we're having this discussion about what we're taking from this thing we did for 3 weeks and moving forward, and just really wanting to hold with care the people that we've kind of trained with in a way, and making sure to honor that intent going forward, that we did for 3 weeks.
So what you're hoping is that what the work that we did in 3 weeks really takes us forward, and that you honor all the other participants equally.
Yeah. And just hearing Celia talk about how, take what works and leave what doesn't. I notice a little bit of fear, almost I'm so unaccustomed to doing that. I want to kind of do everything that's ever been taught to me, kind of I want to honor every single teacher in every way, which is impossible. It makes it very hard for me to make my own style. So maybe that's one of the reasons I avoid it, so I'm just kind of recognizing that I want to, that I'm actually a little scared saying, oh, now I'm going to do it a different way, even though I learned from you how to do it one way.
Yes. So internally you're feeling a little uncomfortable to disregard some of the learnings that you had from all the teachers and just take what suits you, and you are fighting between what to take, what not to take, but at the same time, because you want to honor everyone, you want to take everything. So now you are in the state of deciding, not deciding, confusion, fear, and
it's a state of flux. And I kind of recognized it last week. We were in one of the breakout rooms, and I basically reflected back the same way I do with you guys. And the person receiving it said, could you say it in one words, in single words, not in, a story, like a narrative? And to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I've moved away from other groups I've worked with, because they've said, you reflect back this way. And I can't. I just can't. I like the flowing story of reflecting something back. I think that whole story is so juicy. It's significant, and I can't reflect back in ways that people tell me to that doesn't suit me. And
so,
I just, please.
So you don't, sorry to interrupt you. So you are interested in following your way, not what people tell you what to do, because what people tell you to do doesn't suit your personality or doesn't suit your style, and that's what puts you off from rest of the groups.
Not so much puts me off. I take what they give me as a gift. It's like, okay, thank you, and you're gonna make what I do better, and
Yeah,
I'm okay.
You need your own way. You need your own space to, like, for your own self-expression, because you are you. You are not somebody else. So you would do what comes from you, like, from within, rather than like.
In your saying it like that, I'm realizing that maybe when Celia was talking about, I even when hearing Celia talk about how people could adapt it, I realize now I'm kind of getting excited. Like, yeah, I want to give people that experience of, I love the saying from 12-step groups, you take what you like and you leave the rest. And that's it. You take what works, and please take it as a gift for the rest of your life, and everything else that doesn't work, and come back, look at it later if you want, but if you don't want to, that's fine too. I just something about that kind of freedom really tickles me. It really makes me think, because that's how I grow as a social worker, right? I pick the things that work for me, and I'll look at things. I'll practice things, but if it doesn't work, it's not going to work.
Yeah, you believe in freedom and liberation. Like, give people their own space. Take what you can and leave rest others if you can't handle it, or maybe you can keep rest other things for later, whenever it is good for those things that you left behind to manifest. Everything has its own time. So just relax. It's like, just be happy. Like, don't stress.
I like that accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe connecting me just with that sense of, a lot of times when I've done this type of work, it doesn't come from a relaxed place. I think that's really nice that you noticed that I've kind of forced myself. I've pushed myself too much, and I'm really working on avoiding that right now.
Now you have, like, done soliciting everybody, telling you what to do and all. Now you have chosen to choose walk on your own path, what feels good to you, what feels right to you, and you're just going to be yourself.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
All right, I feel heard. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, my turn. Oh, I don't know what to say.
Just select someone and tell them you don't know what to say.
Celia. I don't know. I don't know what to say, but, like, yeah, what Peter said, and you also saying, it has to be like that, because the country that I come from, India, it's very much dictatorship. Dictatorship from elderly person. Yeah. Do what I say, and if we don't listen to elderly person, they feel disrespected. Yeah. But the elderlies don't realize that everyone has their own experience and everyone has their own voice and expression, and they also have to honor it. So in India is like, respect is only for elders, not for the younger ones, and I don't see that there is enough of mutual respect and all that. And that is one of the part of social justice movement happening in India, like change. Yeah, mutual respect, and even elderlies have to respect the younger ones, and it's mutual listening, right. And it's mutual cooperation. And yeah, it's not, you cannot just trespass because you are a senior. You cannot just trespass younger ones. You cannot trespass younger one's life or whatever. Like, up to certain age, when kids are smaller, like when they don't understand worldly things, up to that point, elderlies or parents, they can dictate you, but not after some point.
Right. So even though in the beginning you did not know what to talk about, obviously it touched a deep thing in you that linked you back to your country, where there is respect for the elderly, but how do they listen to younger ones, and how can we be together? And that opened up new thoughts for you. Yeah, that should actually be that way, and that's where the movement also came out from in India, that now there is more mutuality, and that is actually the way we should go.
It's coming up. It's this. It has to. It is at this level. It is just started. It is
still starting. Yeah.
It's like it will take few generations
Right.
to come up to that level of mutual respect and all that.
Yeah.
It's bad. That's why I'm like rebel. That's why I'm a strong
like a rebel.
I'm a rebel.
Yeah, and as a rebel, you may even speed up a few generations. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel heard.
Yeah. Welcome. Thank you. Let me see. Did I speak to Bob? I think so. No. Yeah. Did I speak to you, Bob?
I think so.
Yeah. Then I speak to Edwin.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. I'm also not knowing what to say anymore.
Kind of running out of things to say, like Rasha did.
Yes, even though I said I could say so many things. I wanted to refer to the 2 hours. It was also for me. Also, I had scheduled something else after, so the last meeting I really had to rush out, and that felt not too good for me. But also, I was so done with it. I could not. I even could not get more. You know, I needed to stop it, and that is very unusual for me. I really sit out long times and can hold on long, but it was so. I wondered later after that, what was that? Why was I wanted to even flee? You know, why did I wanted to stop it? That was a very intriguing moment, and I still don't know yet, baby. Oh yeah, there are no recordings. I thought otherwise I'd go look back at the recordings, see where did it hit me. So that was something.
Okay, so you were noticing that you got really tired and wanted to withdraw from the presentation, and that you don't understand, because usually you can really focus and stay present, but you really wanted to withdraw.
Yeah.
And you're just like wondering, why was that? What was it? And it's kind of unclear to you what it was that was making you want to almost like flee from the...
Right. Even though the last time I really, I told my husband, yes, it's only till 7, so we can start straight away after that. But then it was 15 past 7, and I just couldn't. Okay, I have to go. Yeah. So
it was like having to end it. You kind of had some struggle in terms of that. You had your time commitments, and it kind of went over. And
yeah, but I felt it was not only the time commitment. I felt it was really fleeing. Yeah. So, still not sure what it was.
Yeah, so it's like, why did you want to flee? Why did you want to almost like escape, to get away? And just feeling some curiosity and about why that is, and it's not really clear.
Right. And that teaches me again to make sure, like we talked about, say the household things in the beginning of a meeting. Is anybody needing to leave earlier? Let me know, just give a little signal and we bless you and you can go or whatever. So that, and also my, one of my guidelines is you always can pass. You always can leave or say no or say I pass. So that's because we work with emotions that we don't know where they link to. Yeah.
So there's something about doing like the housekeeping up front that we had talked about before that you find is important, because then you can say, oh, I need to leave, and you can kind of prepare everyone for that when you exit, as well as, say things like you can pass, that, something happens, you can just say you want to pass. And so that's the importance of that household stuff up front.
Yeah, to really empower back all participants to make them responsible for their own happiness.
So the housekeeping kind of creates a space where you give everyone responsibility for their own happiness.
Yeah. And let me see. Besides that, because Peter also said something like honoring everything that we have done, and I do that too. I felt thrilled that I was invited and be part of it and see everybody, learn all these new faces, know that people are on so many different levels, busy with creating a more a culture or a society where we can be there for each other. So yes, I wanted to add that because I did not say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're wanting to kind of respond to like what Peter said, that you honor all the, all the contributions and what everybody brought to it, and be sure that you say that.
Yeah, thank you. I feel heard.
Okay. Then I'll speak to Peter. I think, did I spoke to you.
I think we did already, yeah.
Oh, Devarsha, have I spoken to you?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I get to speak to everybody then. Yeah, there was, with Susan, I really enjoyed working with Susan and, creating all these PowerPoints and figuring out all the technical stuff. So I thought that was enjoyable to kind of work together with her to, kind of learn her approach, because for me, I feel like I'm very eclectic. Like I really try to, step into all the different variety of processes and learn from them all. So, it's not just one or the other, but really try to not only connect with them all, but try to integrate them. So, and I think that's what empathy does, is that empathy is an integrative process. So we all have our individual experiences, and when we listen to each other, we're sort of integrating, and it's just this ongoing kind of integration that happens.
So what I hear you say is that you liked and you enjoyed working with Susan, and that gave you an opportunity to learn her style of facilitating teaching, or her process of designing, or whatever, all the different processes. And also you personally appreciate working with different people, so that it gives you an opportunity to learn more different styles rather than stick to your own method. And also it relates to empathy. Integration relates to empathy, and that's why you relate yourself working with different people, different styles. So
yeah.
Kind of open person.
Yeah, and I think for a culture of empathy is about constant integration, right? We're constantly integrating ourselves with each other versus a very closed, this way world. That it's an open and integrative process. And, conflict is all about integration. When there's a conflict, it means something is not integrating. There's one side is going to beat the other side down, or, when they're going to leave. And empathy is they keep talking until they kind of get sort of integrated and find maybe a new path forward. So that's sort of the ideal. Not that I always do it, but that's the ideal.
So for you, the ideal thing to do is to integrate, because you relate this closely to circle of empathy, because integration is empathy is being one. Empathy is like merging. It's becoming one. So you also see if there is some conflict happening, then it's not becoming one. It's going somewhere, there's no meeting of minds or whatever. So you see integration as an ideal way to live, to go to work, whatever. Like
but there's always new shifts. There's always constant new things to integrate. It's like there's no end to the integration, because there's always something new coming up. So having this way of integrating.
Yeah, so it's like it integrates, it becomes one, so that one becomes one seed, and then it opens up So seed and branch, seed and branch.
Yeah,
Kind of,
in a
maybe.
constant way. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'll see somebody else and other people, and then you have to say integrate. So it's just creating a constant sort of integrative awareness. So that's kind of how I try to conceptualize it. Yeah.
It's a constant flux.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then we're going to be meeting. I'll be meeting with Susan next week, and we're going to see how we can work together. So try to see how we can bring in, some of her skills. See if there's some way we can, collaborate. So that's kind of a next step. What else? Yeah, maybe just a reflection on that.
You're meeting Susan next week to figure out some possibility of working together.
I know something that came up is the intimacy. In terms of that process, you create a small group. I mean, and there seems to be, and you have that sort of the confidentiality that it can create more intimacy. So it's this, like with the empathy circle here, since we're recorded, this will be online. So there's kind of we kind of inhibit a bit of our intimacy, maybe. So there's sort of this spectrum of intimacy, and it can be more of a technical dialogue, and maybe not as deeply intimate. And so I just think about that level of intimacy in terms of what we're doing. And one way to actually address that would be to create more intimacy, I think, is maybe having empathy buddy calls. Where two of us get together and it's just a private, like I have an empathy buddy call with one of the empathy tent team members, and we spend an hour. I get half an hour and I just speak for half an hour about whatever is up for me. And then, he gets half an hour. And then that's a much more space for kind of going, dealing with deeper, interpersonal issues.
So what I hear you say, first I heard you say about intimacy and confidentiality. So when confidentiality comes into picture, then that takes away the intimacy. And taking the example of this one, right? Or circle of empathy. Mm-hmm. So because there's no confidentiality, people are more free. So that's what I hear you say, if I've understood well.
Oh, it was maybe people might not be as open in a public forum, even though that's part of the vision for a culture of empathy, that we can feel open and, be able to, share where we are. So it's I just think about how to bring in that intimacy so it's more personal sharing. We do share personally, but it could even go deeper. And I hear others had kind of that deeper experience maybe within those private groups. So it's just, I guess I'm thinking of how to deepen the intimacy within the empathy training too, that there's some space for even going deeper, and that might come through having separate empathy buddy calls.
So to address the intimacy where you find that people don't find that deeper experience of intimacy in a larger forum, so you're thinking of different ways that you could give an intimate experience to people, and one of the ways that you think might be helpful would be having empathy buddy with a person who's comfortable rather than pick up any random stranger. So
yeah, and then there's another thing is the topic. Like the topic, I've done some dialogues around what is the fear or anxiety that you have. And then you're really going right to the, core of, and maybe it's something we can try sometime, is try different topics, so.
So you are also thinking of different topics that would set as a context for conversation. One of the things you think of a topic or context could be fear or anxiety. Talk about that. That would talking would bring to the core of the issue why the person is feeling anxiety of
Yeah, that's
what is
much
the
more
fear.
personal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I feel heard. Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Maybe do one more if you want to speak, and then we'll do one more, and then we'll go into this other.
I'll talk to Peter. Peter, would you like to hear me?
I'm here.
Okay. I always just pick a person. Hey, Bob, listen to me. Hey, Peter, but I never ask, would you like to hear me? So this is the change. It's so hard for me to request or ask. I just tell people I want to talk to you. But anyways, yes, coming to Peter, Edwin's topic, like he was talking about choosing a context and all, it just brought a stimulus, some spark, because I have been thinking about what context. I've been thinking for a very long time what context to choose, because if I'm thinking of with context to performing or dance or storytelling, there has to be some context or topic. I have been wondering what could be the topic or what could be the context, and I didn't get the answer for so far. But I think what Edwin was talking, probably that could be the way or solution to start with. And also it is therapeutic. I don't know how to pronounce that. Therapeutic. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Therapeutic.
Yeah. Therapeutic, yes.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you is that you're kind of just curious about what's the context you're going to be doing this work in.
Mm-hmm.
So in sense of you're relating it to your dancing, and in dancing there's always a context. There's always some kind of, I guess from what you're saying, some kind of story or some kind of you're expressing. It's just not free form. Even if it is, it's not, you know? So, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to integrate that with this. That kind of, that feeling of what's the context of where my passions lead me.
Yeah, yes. The reason I feel context is important, because in dance and theater, we have, specifically in Indian dance, we have this gesture, we have facial expression. So if I want to utilize all the tools from Indian dance, which are like mudras or whatever, facial expression and all that, so we need context. Otherwise, what are we going to express? What are we going to talk? It's a language. So
yeah, you're really wanting to be effective and to be able to use all your tools.
Yes.
To act when you're doing this.
Yes.
You want to bring your full self to the table.
Yes. Yeah. So probably it gave me some direction after talking to Edwin. Probably fear and anxiety would be helpful, because I was myself dealing, and I'm still dealing with a lot of fears and anxiety about launching myself as an Indian dance educator or dancer or whatever in the Indian dance fraternity, because it's very harsh, it's very judgmental and all that. And I am not telling anyone in my Indian community what I'm doing about my work or something, because I don't want that to affect me. I don't want that to affect me or scare me or something. Also, this work, if I launch tomorrow, it's going to be pioneering thing. So I want to stand out because I want to survive. So I don't know how to deal with it.
So you're really connecting with the fact that you're trying to set yourself up to be this unique person in your community. Yeah. And at the same time, it's almost like you're preparing for the community that you know, which is judgmental and has that kind of that old world flair that, you know, people love to rip each other up. Yeah. And you're just kind of wanting to bring your whole self to the table so that you can handle that and be successful. Because you're not doing this to not be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and also it's a part of an identity as an artist, because artists have their own voice, they have their own personality or whatever they want to do the work. So why would I sabotage my work myself and just like blurt out blah, blah, blah in the community without having any tangible thing and just fade away in the community? All that thing is just bothering me, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know, how do I set myself up out there?
Yeah. Sounds like you're getting really just kind of worked up just thinking about how you want to do this the right way.
Yeah.
And you want to mix everything together in a way that works and that it sustains you and it's really you.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to be sustainable. Yeah. And because it's performing arts, it's I may be wrong in my perception, but this I'm just perceiving based on my past experience while growing up and all. Like being in the performing arts, it's like you're in front of whole lot of public. So I don't want to like, I just fear of being, shame thing, people shaming me, and all that negative stuff. It's very cruel. It's unforgiving. So
The
I'm not able to overcome it.
risk you're taking with all these things you're doing,
What?
and just the risk you're taking and mixing it all together. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. It's very frightening to even think. So I don't know how to put myself out there. What should be the right strategy and all that stuff. Oh, it's exhausting. It's draining.
I'm hearing frightening, exhausting. How to put myself out there the perfect way or the way that works.
Yeah, that's all. I feel heard. I'm happy. I just like vented out.
Listen, it feels like it's been satisfying for you to vent it out.
Kind of community. Forgiving community.
A listening community. Yeah. Okay, so that was, we wanted to do like the last 25 minutes, different, talking about the designing of the engagement. But before we do that, maybe just to kind of shift the energy, let's do the mirroring feeling. So remember, we did our mirroring feeling. Be aware of a feeling and translate that into a movement and a sound and share it with the group. Just since we've been just talking for a while here. I don't know, Varsha, would you like to start, since you were kind of like engaged in something here? Would you like to share? How do you feel about all this now?
Looking here, looking there.
Is that it? Do we got it?
Yeah, like looking everywhere and
Peter, do you want to? Should I go that way?
Right now, I'm feeling like. Good, thanks.
Bob?
integration.
Okay. Celia?
From the beginning, this one was like this, and now it is boom, 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 boom. Dharma come boom, 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 boom.
Let's see, what is mine, or something like a big. Let's sing it, Celia. Yeah, that's it, Peter. Okay. So the thing I want to look at next is in our document. Let me share that actually. And meeting return. Hope that's the right one. Oh, okay. How to contribute. So, as I mentioned before, that that, you know, we've just been doing the workshops. We have 4 teams now, and it's like how to kind of find where everyone is in terms of their engagement level. Like, how do they see, you know, how would they like to contribute to it? So I created a how to contribute activity here, which has sort of some headings. It's like, what are categories of contribution? How many hours per week? Read. So I like to read material, show up and do the exercises. That's what I was hearing, for example, from Peter, you know, design activities. So, you know, Varsha, you're saying that maybe next month you'd want to design some activities. Do empathy activism, which is facilitate empathy circles between people. And, you know, I was hearing Bob, that's what he would like to do in the fall, you know, to do some circles and host some trainings, and then start an empathy tent. So both Bob and Celia are doing hosting, you know, wanting to host or host empathy tents. So this is some general categories, and I'm just wanting to hear, like, what do you think in terms of, this is just kind of open discussion, what do you think of ways of engaging people to hear what it is that they want to do, or kind of how to approach this to sort of, you know, kind of tap into where people are, and sort of have paths for how people can get engaged. So, you know, they might not even think, no, I don't even know how to engage people in some of the teams. You know, some of them are real facilitators. They have a lot of experience. I just don't know how to kind of manage and find out where everyone is. And, you know, so it's a bit of a challenge. So
Are you talking about marketing plan?
this is about how the training teams can be involved. So we have 4 teams like us who are with the intention of designing the MOOC, right? And people are kind of have different amount of time and different skills. And I think, Celia, you'd said something about finding the inspiration or something that people had.
Yes, like, but also we have not talked about influencing each other, like hearing each other. We could, even in our little group, help each other getting more clarity. Like for Varsha, what she just said, I all of a sudden thought, man, I have several stories that are awesome. I tell them every time over and over in my classes. Wouldn't that be awesome to see them in a dance? You know, so I already thought that.
I can do it. I want to do it.
Wow.
Please invite me to California. I'm more than willing to come there.
No, I'm in the middle of the country. I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh, I can come there also.
The airplane goes there too. And
I don't know where there is in geography, but I can come.
Yeah, it's in the middle. And Peter, you have so much richness in working with clients, and that you say the element of stepping away from always doing how the protocol is, now finding your own way of doing. That little step is major, you know. If you can discover that, if we can help you discover that, it may be an exercise, it may be a help for other people. And Bob, your stuff in what you're gonna do, that is also fabulous. And I think the way you see always things from the light side and from the happy side, to emphasize that. So maybe create questions for people to refer to what was the best that they felt they got from this, for example, you know. So so we could help each other even. And then in the bigger group, if we one time have a moment that we indeed are with all the 4 groups together, hearing each other's specialties and brainstorm. Yeah. But besides that, sorry. Yeah.
Just in realizing how you're saying it, you know, I'm recognizing for myself, there are a lot of times that, okay, so I have skills I can bring. I'm realizing, Varsha, you're like so close to me. I could spit and probably get to your house, you know? And I know that in the other group, Edwin, I had written to that psychiatrist. It's in the other group, but I never got a response back. So maybe I'll try that again. You know, find a group of New York City people. So I am interested in actually doing an empathy tent, but popping out an empathy tent anywhere in New York City, I need some backup. You know, I can't just do that by myself.
Oh.
You know, particularly if there's there's going to be a very heated political debate in Staten Island. That's actually it's probably too late already. It's going to be on the 26th that there's going to be the election. But, you know, just thinking, you know, there's a whole bunch of places I could imagine empathy tent popping up in New York City. You know, and I've thought about it before. I think it would be a good experience to do. I just have to kind of figure out the logistics of like buying a tent and writing empathy tent on it, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I have two questions. One, I do not watch television. I only watch movies. So also I'm away from politics. I just get to hear some things from here and there about what's happening politically. But I've been thinking for a very long time, like all these human values and all, if I start my work, the first thing people are going to ask me is about political things. How are you going to do this politically, and how all these things is going to address political issues and all. And I don't know how to do that. And I was thinking probably we should start talking about all these things, empathy thing and all, how to do with context to political scenario, or what to do when people come up with because when I was in Philadelphia doing my performance thing, you remember I told you I did that dance thing with the lamp in the dark with the empathy thing. Remember I told this?
Edwin's the expert for this. I mean, all he does is go to these political things and, you know, really connect with people. So Edwin's the man to ask. You know, he does a very good job. He has like hundreds of hours of connecting with people that you can watch. Edwin, he's got tons and tons of hours on YouTube. You could watch him in the middle of like pretty much a riot in Berkeley. You know, just watch it. It's great. It's great entertainment.
Yeah.
And another thing, if we have to do this empathy tent and all, is it this with our own expense, or if there are any funds provided on? Because I have no money, because I'm looking for jobs and all. So what about all these financial things and all? Like, how much does it cost, and you know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, let me review what I'm hearing so far. So I was hearing, so how do we influence each other? So Celia's saying, how do we support each other? You know, and you're seeing that Peter, you know, maybe needs support in following his own path. You know, you have stories for like Varsha that she could use those stories in creating some of her dances. You know, Bob is really good at asking these positive questions, and that we could bring people, you know, the groups together into a big meeting, and then see how the groups can support each other. And that Peter is looking at connect with each other, you know, maybe host an empathy tent, and how do we, you know, do that? He doesn't want to do it by himself, but maybe with others, you know, connect with others. And I just did an interview with the UC Berkeley student who is holding the class, Peter, and she's moving to New York, and she was interested in doing the empathy tent. And I told her I would send her your contact info.
Yeah, whoever, anyone, anywhere, please.
And then Varsha is looking, well, how does this all relate to politics? And the empathy tent has been in the middle of these political events. And we were just, there was a political event about, you know, getting people out of the right wing, you know, the Nazi kind of groups. And the empathy tent was there. And there's a rally going to happen on August 5th, another right-wing rally, and there'll probably be counter demonstrations. So I created a Facebook event for hosting empathy circles between the two sides. So that's something that, you know, when everyone gets, whoever's comfortable with hosting an empathy circle between competing sides, can actually facilitate that. So I'll be sending out information, you know, about that as we get people lined up. Yes, Celia?
Yeah, I want to say for Warsaw, where I'm going to start is at the art walk, the monthly art walk that they do here. So artists open their shops, and the center that I work at has an art walk, is now contributing too. So I see that as an opportunity to see if I can get people who are interested in art to come in and just talk, and we see where we go from. So it's not a political in first thing, but with the heated things that are happening now, I bet some will take that opportunity to finally vent.
Yeah, it's about just listening. The basic is just listening to people, and we have everybody's been self-financing it. I think Bob was saying it costs about $500 to buy the tent for all the printing and stuff. So
I looked already in that thing, and I thought, well, I don't know what to do, so maybe I just take a big piece of cloth and with a big marker and 2 seats, $5 seats, so those.
Yeah. That's what Bill has been doing. He's created like a little mini tent, so it doesn't have the expense. You can also, the original tent got set up. I started it at Occupy Wall Street here in Berkeley when it was here, and actually I created a fundraiser, and some folks chipped in, so they paid about several $100s of it was chipped in. So that's like other kind of strategies,
But do you need permission and all that from the municipality to put your tent and occupy public space and all that stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of different issues, around that, and each space is different. If you just have like an umbrella, you can get like an umbrella and just some chairs, and usually that's pretty much okay. If you get a tent, there's other issues, and so there's a lot of different issues. If you just have some chairs, and then do listening, that's pretty straightforward. But I should get back a little bit to in the last 10 minutes, so what do you think in terms of engaging people? Like, how was that? Like, I just asked the question. Maybe it's all that's really needed. We had the on arrival question, how would you like to be involved? And it kind of gave a sense of where everyone is. So any other ideas like that? How was that? Is just sharing that. How did you feel about sharing where you were? Bob is good, felt good about it. Everybody felt okay.
I want maybe to add more that, of course, because I do my own trainings, I do a lot on internet and on Facebook, and that's how I try to engage people and get it bigger here in at least where I live. And so I don't know how much others are on it on social media.
The thing is, for me, the biggest hurdle, although I want to do it, I have not been talking to any single person what I'm doing. So people in my life don't really know what I'm doing, except for my husband and my very close friend here. That's it. 2 or 3 people know what I'm doing. So rating suddenly popping up in the Facebook for fundraiser, I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to put myself out there and start communicating about my work and all that.
Well, I know you are studying real estate, and we are so much in need for an empathetic real estate agent, someone that really listens to what you need in your house, that could be an asset for you if that is an entrance and you don't want to go via the arts. I go, once brainstorming part starts working, we can.
I have already thought about it. I've been talking to my husband and all, but let's see. Empathy is required everywhere. Also, another thing is probably this Saturday, I'm trying different ways to get involved in my community because of my work and all, because I need residencies and I need to get into the community. So I happened to meet the mayor of my town. So I got a call today just before this session started to come and volunteer for him. He's election is coming and all. So put up the flyers and everything. So I'm just thinking how to,
you get it.
Hold some empathy circles, or say, hey, we're going to bring some communities together.
I I think that might be the way, because I'm getting connected directly with the mayor. So probably I can speak directly to them. If they can fund my whatever empathy circle or whatever I do, that's the way I see. Other than that, I don't have any contacts or whatever.
So, Varsha, you're in Jersey City, right?
Yeah, Union City, very close to the tunnel, right next to the tunnel.
Yeah, that would be some interesting politics to watch the different politicians actually have empathy with each other for an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly New Jersey politics and New York City politics. Wouldn't that be interesting? You know, not a debate, but an actual, they say something and they reflect it back and back and forth. I mean, a lot of them might not want to participate in that because it's not a debate, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I'm thinking, but I don't really know how to go about it, how to invite people, how to, how to start communicating with people and make them participate and all that. I don't know how to communicate and what to communicate.
Maybe you want to ask the mayor. If you got the connection with the mayor, just say, like, maybe I want to do something like that. How do I even start? You know, what's the start? And say, you know, Edwin has experience with this, right? You
Yeah, we did a radical empathy forum at UC Berkeley, and we had 11 candidates, and we did a empathy circle, and it's all recorded and online. And we also have our congressman who's saying that he will do an empathy circle with us in August, and we actually went to his office and talked to him. So that's sort of the activist component.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Hi.
You are sleeping. You're still sleeping.
Okay.
Sorry, just joking.
That's fine. No problem. No, I missed you guys. I wanted to check in. I could catch the last. I just wanted to say hello.
Oh, great.
Also, let Celia know that I sent out the stress balls and the papers.
Wow.
Unfortunately, they won't be there Saturday, but they'll be there Monday.
Oh.
Let me know how it goes. And you know, and then Bob, I'll still get you some stress balls.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
Okay, so we were just talking, I posed a question about how might you like to contribute to the empathy training project. So trying to read where everyone is, you know, like what level, what area would you like to be involved in? And I was trying to develop, like, how do we, in the different teams, kind of measure that, you know, and find out where people's interest and involvement is. So right now I'm thinking it's just, you know, posing it as a question, have a list of potential things you can do, you can check them off, and it's just the first starting point, and then we'll see, you know, how that goes.
Okay. And that's in an email, or is it in the... That'll be in the on arrival question. When people arrive, that they will kind of answer that, and then I can kind of measure. So we're kind of like designing a little activity, like the activity is kind of checking the sort of where people are. Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So did you want me to quickly?
No, you didn't have to respond. I was just letting you know and kind of wrapping up where we were. So. So that's kind of it. I think that's about it. We've got 4 minutes. So is there anything else everybody feel heard, or is there any kind of final thing that anyone wants to say before we close our shop?
I probably early next month, when I start working on this, I would like to have some videos or some article or some insight on how to do this in the political scenario, and how to invite people, and how do you do it? Like, what's the process of getting things together to hold empathy? Then communication and marketing, and how do you do that?
Okay, on Wednesdays we have a meeting that Bob and Bill are part of, and it's our empathy tent team. So that is specifically on looking at how do we set up our next deployments or pop-ups. And so that would be a good, Celia was going to join us, I think, next time. So that's a good place because it's specifically on those questions.
Okay.
And that's something
Are
we
those
can
recorded?
We haven't been recording those, no.
What time is it Wednesdays?
It's 7 p.m. Pacific. So that's
10 p.m. my time. So
7.
And for how many hours? 1 hour? 2 hours?
Yeah, it's 10. We go about an hour.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. You know, we kind of go through the different projects, and you know, Bill has been making sort of a simple sort of tent. You know, where you don't, you know, it's just a quick. You can just set up very easy with you know, all the stuff. So he's
sidewalk.
yeah, just set up something. Maybe even an umbrella. You know, you could do. So there's different ways. You just gotta kind of set the intention and then start working on it. So. So any other thing to feel heard? Everybody feel heard? Says that everybody feel heard? No. Okay, we got Peter, you feeling heard? Okay.
Competition, you gotta have 2 thumbs, not 1.
Oh, look at that. In this time, it used up all the oil in the lamp. We're right at the bottom of the...
Yeah, it's like Passover.
Oh.
It lasted 2 hours?
I used to pour my oil too. Come on.
It lasted 2 hours? Good.
The oil, yeah, the little container here. So, so we had set our intention, which was to build a culture of empathy, and we want to take that intention out with us. And from all around the world, we take a deep breath and blow. Blow that intention out. Yay, let that smoke, the flame.
Spread it out.
So very nice. I love it. It's just, it's got a little thing, and they got these little balls that are for the wicks, you know, so it's a whole Indian thing that
Yes.
Shah, I'm sure, knows very well.
Yeah.
Okay.